Hey, and welcome to She's Built Like a CEO. My name is Brooke, and I'll be your host today, like I am every week. Normally, I have notes because my brain tends to go off on tangents and lose itself in some thoughts. But today, I wanted to talk about something that I think just needs to come out of my mouth hole the most awkward and real way it possibly can without all the notes and all the things. So let's get into it. This is She's Built Like a CEO podcast, and I'm Brooke, your host. I work inside the back ends of female-founded businesses every day. And I know that you already know that your back end needs some attention. You've known for a while. But instead of dealing with it, you're buying another course, testing another tool, trying another strategy, literally anything that feels like forward motion without actually touching the thing that needs to change. The back end is the problem. The systems, the tech, the processes running behind the scenes or not running. Those are what are costing you time, growth, and the version of your business you keep saying you're building towards. I know you don't want to touch it because you feel about technology the way I feel about laundry, and I get it. But that's why I'm here. In this podcast, we talk about what's actually happening behind the scenes of successful women's businesses and what it actually takes to fix it. Let's get into it. If I'm being honest, when somebody hears me say the word back end in context or out of it, I usually get somebody making an inappropriate joke or giggling at me. But I want to talk today about what I'm really talking about when I tell you your business back end, when I talk about your back end of your business, what that is and what it should look like or can look like for you. So what is the business back end? I remember when I first started an online business and people were talking about systems and automations. And I was like, what the hell is that? What is it? I mean, what does that mean? And I really, truly didn't know. And I think there's a lot of people who don't understand or know that there are ways to build systems and to automate things inside of their business. And the reason for that, a lot of times, and we're going to get back to what that is and all of those things in just a minute. But I think the reason for that often is that when you're building a business, you do what's necessary in order to keep it afloat and built and running and, doing what it's supposed to be doing. And a lot of times that looks like, I have a product I need to sell. Maybe you are someone who has a service product of some kind. You need to schedule time on a calendar with someone. So you go buy or get or use a calendar tool because somebody told you that it works for them. You're like, great, cool. I'm going to use that. And then you realize, oh no, I need to be sending people emails. So you go buy or grab or use a free version of some sort of email platform. And then you're like, these two things aren't really talking to each other. So that's okay though, because when someone books, I'll just send them an email manually. It's no big deal. And you don't even realize that you can have some automation between those things. So what I mean by the back end is all the stuff that happens behind the scenes in your business that people don't see. It's the stuff that takes up probably the most time. It's the stuff that matters because if it doesn't exist, then, people aren't getting what they need and you don't have a fully functioning business. So it's very important, a business back end, but a lot of times it's a disaster. And the reason for that, like I said, is because we're building it as we go. And I don't ever want to bring shame in that because you know what? My friend Carrie talks about this sometimes. She's like, you took a spark of an idea out of your brain and you brought it out into the world and you made it real. That's fucking cool, right? And it is really cool. So there's no reason why when you're doing this, especially for the first time ever, or even, just as you're growing and as you're doing things, there's no shame in just doing what works for the moment. But there becomes a point in time in every single business's life that if you want to grow more or if you want to continue to do this and sustainably and not burn out, the back end becomes something you really do need to take a look at because all those tasks take so much time. One of the most common things, like I told you before, is systems not talking to each other. And when I say that, I mean your technology that you're using. Your calendar app isn't talking to your email isn't talking to your point of sale, or your point of sale is not talking to where your course is located. And you're having to fill in these gaps and these holes to make them all function together and work together. And that's incredibly frustrating and time consuming and completely and utterly unnecessary. There are so many ways to make it work for you. And the way that it's going to work best for you behind the scenes is not going to be the same way that it's going to work for, the next person over here or me or your best friend who's also running a business. It's not going to be the same. So when we're taking recommendations from other business owners or other friends, even if they're in the same industry as we are, even if they offer something similar to what we do, doesn't necessarily mean it's the best thing for you. Doesn't mean that it's going to function well inside of your business. There's all kinds of technology out there. And I, at one point in time, tried to narrow down the technology I wanted to work with. And so I got pretty proficient in a handful of things. But what I have found is that those things, they're the popular things, they're the things that most often will fit into a business. But I have found several businesses since then that don't fit into those boxes. And that means we go out and look at different things. And I'm always really honest with people when I'm like, hey, I've never worked with this before, but based on what you're telling me and based on what this company and this piece of technology is telling me it can do, I really think this is going to be the best option. And then we work together on it and we make sure that it's going to function well for them. Usually you can get a free trial with technology, or you can schedule a call with them and sit down with somebody from the company and give them your specific needs and make sure that it's going to fit. There's all kinds of ways to make sure it's going to happen. So I guess my point is there's not one size that fits all. And the way that you do it is totally fine as long as it functions and works for you. But if you've gotten to a point in your business where this is just not something you maybe A, have the time to look at and work on, but B, also can't afford not to look into, then it's time to ask for some help. And I think I see in business owners, myself included, the how hard it is to ask for help. We have built something that was from this tiny little seed, and we've loved it and we've nurtured it and we've grown it on our own. And it feels really weird to ask for someone else to help us. It feels weird sometimes to pay somebody to do something that we've been able to do ourselves for so long and invest in that. But it truly is an investment to do that. It is, we get to this point where we feel burnt out, and sustainability of that it's not there unless you start looking at outsourcing or working with someone to set up systems, and I'm not saying that everybody needs the exact same thing, obviously. Maybe it's not your systems that need the help. Maybe you do need to hire a virtual assistant or an OBM or something behind the scenes, or, a whole other person to run some systems for you, whatever it is. Everybody needs something different. But there comes a point in the business, every single one, like I said earlier, every single business who is on the path of growth, where you will hit a point where it is necessary to look at the back end of your business and see what needs to happen in order for more growth to happen and sustainability to occur. I think the really cool thing about that is you also have some choices in there. When I talk to business owners who are at this point or who are approaching this point and want to look at building something sustainable, there's a lot of options within that decision point, that moment, that you have autonomy over, especially when you have someone look at it who has the knowledge of what your choices are. And it's not just, should I create this system or buy this piece of technology, or should I hire somebody? It's usually a ladder system of what technology do I need to have in place so that I can do this on my own again for a while? And then also, once these systems are in place and I decide that it's time and that I need help, it's going to be so much easier to hire somebody because the systems are running, the automations are running. It's interesting and kind of neat in a way when someone comes to me and they're like, you know what, I really need to hire some help. I really need to get someone in here to assist me. And sometimes they really, really do. But there are several times when it's just like, hey, you know what, I think that, yeah, you probably will in some time in the future, but I do think you can reduce your workload and possibly put off that investment for a while, and just let's invest in your systems right now. Let's look at your back end. Let's reduce the workload for you. Let's see what we can automate. Let's see what kind of technology could take a lot of stuff off of your plate. So I love that there's always so many choices and things that we can do and different options that people have in the back end of their business. My favorite thing, and I get kind of mushy when I talk about what I do. I have a really soft place in my heart for women who run businesses, for women who are actively wanting to make their lives different by running their own business. Maybe that's leaving a corporate job. Maybe that is changing the financial situation for your family by adding another income. Maybe it is, you know, creating a business so that you can do something that you've always wanted to do, travel or pay off your house or whatever it is. Like, I have a huge heart for that because my own story is rooted very much in wanting to do things differently, wanting to have more autonomy over my life. I left corporate America because I was on the edge of burnout for years. And I just kept kind of like approaching the edge of the cliff and knowing at some point I was going to fall. And eventually I got this opportunity where I was able to leave and do something for my own self. And that changed my life. It changed my life in so many ways. It changed my family's life in so many ways. I'm a different person than I was then. I get to enjoy different things and we have a different life because of that. And I want everyone to have their version of success. That was mine. This is mine. And I want that for all women. And so when I get to when someone invites me to look at the back end system of their business and we go through that together, I care for that so much. It makes me really, really happy to be able to help women who have that dream as well, who are making that dream a reality for themselves as well, who get to change their life in whatever way makes them the happiest. Because not having this way of running my life and having this business that I love and working with other women who also are doing the same thing, it's a fucking dream. It's amazing. And like I said, when you invite me into that business of yours, I truly want what's best for it and for you. And I will handle it with the utmost care and respect because it deserves it, because you deserve it. And I love that process. So I love coming in and talking to you about this is what the back end audit looks like, right? So like we get together and we get to talk about where your business is, where you want it to go, what is happening right now that's really frustrating, where your time is going, and I get to look at all of the things that you're using and my brain is going, boop, 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 boop the whole time we're talking. Instantly, I can tell you like where the drag is. I can see it. And I'm like, okay, this is where it is. And not only that, but this is how we fix it. This is what needs to happen first. This is what happens next. And also down the road, once these things are all in line, like here's the step after that. Like I know where you are. You've told me where you're going. I can see where the drag is and I can give you a map for how we make all of this in the back end work so smoothly and make your business function in a way that is so sustainable for you. It's important. That sustainability is important because this is something that's important to you to be able to do. When it's sustainable, it's growable. When it's sustainable, you want to show up in it. When it's sustainable, that's when this becomes the engine that can give you your version of success. And I want that for you almost as much as you want that for you. I promise you. So that's what a business backend is. It's all the stuff nobody sees. It's all the stuff that matters a lot, but it's kind of frustrating to have to do. It's all the stuff that you didn't realize when you started a business you would be doing. It's the stuff that a lot of times does not require you to be so hands-on in it. And eventually doesn't require you to touch it at all if you want to hire out. It's that stuff. The front end, the relationships with clients, the relationships with potential clients, your knowledge, your unique way of sharing what you do, your unique way of delivering what you do, your creativity, your spark, your story, those things are not replaceable. And those things require you to be in them. Let me help you take the load off the back part of that so that you can show up more fully in that front end part where you need to be. If you're curious about a back end audit, all the stuff's in the show notes. I even have a free version that you can do all on your own. And I would love for you to take that and go through your business on your own if that's what you'd like to do right now. I'm always here for you if you want eyeballs on it. I appreciate you being here with me this week. I will see you next Tuesday.